Now at 5:30 on WKYT this morning, lawmakers are set to resume budget talks this morning, but with time running out, will a deal be reached by the end of the session Friday? More from Frankfort coming up.
Also on WKYT this morning, another suspect has been charged in connection to Lexington's latest homicide. We'll have details on what he is accused of being involved with just ahead this morning.
And thousands of Verizon mobile workers are preparing to strike amid contract disputes. But the company now says they're ready with replacement workers in case that happens.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Kentucky mornings start right here on WKYT, and we are glad you're up and with us this morning on your Wednesday. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Michelle Chamberlain.
And with it.
And we are waking up, right? Got a little caffeine here to get us going.
Yeah, get going this morning. All right, we expect to finally a switch in our weather. It looks good here for the next several days to come.
Exciting news.
Yeah, meteorologist Micah Harris is up. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, the 30s out and about this morning. We talked about this past couple of days that this is the last day that we're going to be talking about a freeze watch, freeze warning, frost advisory, any of that winter stuff. This is the last morning you're going to hear about that. We're at 35 degrees in Lexington, 34 in Richmond, and that goes from Mount Sterling, Camargo, Jeffersonville, back towards Salt Lick, and also work your way into Owingsville. Those areas right there are pretty chilly this morning. We'll finish off right around that freezing mark, and by the afternoon, 62 degrees. So it's a big 30-degree swing as we have that dry air mass in place. And it looks like that's going to take us through the next several days. That takes us into the weekend where it gets really warm. A May feel out there. Now, what temperatures are typically in May? I'll show you that coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, whatever. I think we'll take it, and we thank you. Let's get to the news.
After several failed attempts, Kentucky lawmakers will try once again to reach an agreement on a state budget this morning.
This has been a difficult process. This Friday is to be the last day of the legislative session. The Constitution requires them to go home, and even if lawmakers have not reached an agreement by then, Governor Matt Bevin is vowing not to call a special session. WKYT's Mark Barber joins us live from Frankfort with more on what this means for the state going forward. Mark?
Good morning, Bill. Well, lawmakers will meet here at 11 this morning at the Capitol once again to try to reach a last-minute compromise on the budget deal. Governor Matt Bevin says if they are not able to strike a deal and approve a budget by Friday, he will not call them back to the Capitol for a special session. The governor says Greg Stumbo, the Speaker of the Democrat-controlled House, would be to blame for the partial government shutdown that would start on July 1st if a budget is not approved this week. According to a 2005 court ruling, during a partial shutdown, the state's expenditures would be limited to funds outlined by federal mandates, constitutional mandates, or statutory mandates. That raises questions about a number of state agencies that do not fall under those categories. The extensive list includes state police, public colleges and universities, vehicle enforcement, the Economic Development Cabinet, the Medical Examiner's Office, road construction projects, and veterans nursing homes. In less than 6 hours, the House and the Senate will try once again to resolve their differences on the budget and avoid a partial government shutdown. Now, the House Speaker says it is difficult for Democrats to approve a budget and sign off on the governor's proposal because he says it is the worst proposal he has seen from a governor in his 35 years in the office. Now, of course, we will take a much closer look at the details of the budget and the points of conflict within it coming up at 6. Live in Frankfort, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Thank you, Mark. Governor Bevin has responded to Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's criticism over his decision to cut funding for higher education. Clinton called the order wrong and possibly illegal. Kentucky Attorney General Andy Beshear is now suing the governor over the order. In a statement yesterday, the governor said Clinton's criticism is a way of distracting Kentucky voters from her remarks that she would put coal companies and coal mines out of business. Clinton has since retracted her statements about the coal industry, saying she was mistaken. Kentucky's presidential primary will be held next month.
New this morning, a late afternoon fire left a Nicholasville family without a place to stay overnight. And we're told the fire happened about 5:30 yesterday at a home at the corner of West Brown Street and South 3rd. Both Nicholasville and Jessamine County Fire helped put out the blaze. According to the Jessamine Journal, the owner of the home called 911 after hearing a loud noise near the water heater, followed by smoke pouring out from it. By the time the crews got there, the fire had started in the floor of the home and then it climbed into the walls. Firefighters say no injuries are reported, but after hours of fighting the fire, they say the home is a total loss.
Also new this morning, police are looking for the man who attacked an employee during a robbery. Ashland police say the worker was leaving Cash Express when that person was confronted by a man hiding behind the building. He assaulted the employee and forced her back into the building before stealing cash. The victim was not seriously hurt.
A third person is in custody this morning in connection with Lexington's latest homicide case.
Lexington police say 19-year-old Alex Farrell was arrested last night. They say he, along with Jaden Whalen and Nicholas Karachi, all face robbery charges. WKYT's Caitlin Center is at our live desk this morning with more on Farrell's accused role in this crime. Good morning, Caitlin.
Good morning, Michelle. A 19-year-old is behind bars this morning for his alleged connection to a fatal weekend shooting. Alex Farrell is expected to make his first court appearance later this afternoon. Lexington police say 19-year-old Farrell was arrested last night. They say that he, along with Jaden Whalen and Nicholas Karachi, all face robbery charges. All three are freshmen at UK. Investigators say all three men, along with James Gordon, now deceased, planned to rob a man during a drug deal early Saturday morning on Woodland Avenue near UK's campus. When one of them pulled a weapon, the man they were meeting shot Karachi and Gordon. Gordon died at UK Hospital. Investigators say the shooter is cooperating and has not been charged. He's claiming self-defense. Farrell is expected in Fayette County Court at 1 o'clock this afternoon. At the live desk, Caitlin Setner, WKYT.
Caitlin, thank you very much. A Laurel County woman is facing charges after police say they found her taking care of children while intoxicated. Deputies arrested 39-year-old Tammy Martin at a home on Taylor School Road yesterday morning. They say they got a complaint about a woman who was intoxicated and had her 2 children in her care. When deputies tried to arrest her, they say she tried to kick and bite an officer. Martin is charged with wanton endangerment as well as alcohol intoxication, resisting arrest, and assault.
An Eastern Kentucky lawyer facing multiple charges in connection with a disability benefit scheme is out of jail this morning. A federal judge allowed attorney Eric C. Kahn to return home yesterday while he awaits trial. Kahn faces 18 charges after investigators say he and 2 others used fraud to get $600 million out of the government. Kahn had to use his Pikeville home worth millions to secure bond. Now, the judge also ordered him to wear a GPS tracker, surrender his passport, and avoid contact with anyone involved in the case. The judge says Kahn is allowed to talk to current employees along with his mother unless they are later called as a witness in the case.
Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump will make another visit to the Commonwealth next month. The National Rifle Association of America announced that Trump is set to speak at their forum in Louisville. The NRA says more than 70,000 attendees are expected to be there at the forum on May 20th. The other 2 Republican presidential candidates, Senator Ted Cruz and Ohio Governor John Kasich, have also been invited, but neither of them have agreed to attend the forum at this point.
Can you hear me now? Thousands of workers could be asking that very same question to Verizon later today if they decide to walk off the job. As we first told you yesterday, nearly 40,000 Verizon employees are prepared to go on strike if they do not reach a new labor agreement with the telecom giant. The workers say they've gone without a contract since August. Their union says it's trying to stop Verizon from moving jobs offshore or cutting benefits for injured workers. But Verizon says the company has thousands of non-union workers trained to cover new assignments in the event of a strike.
All right, we'll be watching that today, certainly. Well, President Obama is expected to move forward on a bill approved by the House yesterday to combat the Zika virus. The development comes just days after federal health officials warned the administration the virus is scarier than first thought. Don Champion has the latest on that.
The House-approved measure provides financial incentives to companies developing treatments for the Zika virus. But President Obama says the measure does not go far enough. The administration wants $1.9 billion in emergency funds to combat the virus. In a statement Tuesday night, the president called the House measure a small step forward, saying it's ultimately insufficient on its own.
Everything we look at with this virus seems to be a bit scarier than we initially thought.
The development comes just days after federal health officials sounded the alarm. The virus is linked to the birth defect microcephaly. Now researchers say there's growing concerns Zika goes after neurological tissue in adults.
It seems that the virus is attracted
to nerve tissue or brain tissue. And so we worry that in humans that this virus may destroy nerve tissue or attack brain cells.
This 46-year-old landscaper who does not want to be identified came down with Zika after traveling to Brazil last month. He says the symptoms were unbearable.
The rash, a lot of redness all over my body, itching a lot. Probably got to 110 temperature of fever.
The mosquito that spreads the virus is currently present in about 30 U.S. states. Health experts say they don't expect widespread outbreaks in the continental U.S., but warn we need to be ready. Don Champion, CBS News.
And the CDC says 40 states have reported travel-related cases of Zika, and in Puerto Rico, more than 300 people have contracted the virus from mosquitoes. Experts are warning as summer approaches, hundreds of thousands of people in Puerto Rico could be infected.
Definitely scary. Now, doctors in Texas are calling a rare surgery to separate two infant sisters born conjoined below at the waist a success. The Driscoll Children's Hospital says the operation lasted 2 hours yesterday. The twins have spent most of their 11 months in the intensive care unit sharing a colon and bladder, but doctors feared the infants would face severe health issues if they remained conjoined. After months of preparation, more than 50 medics and a team of 9 surgeons successfully completed the surgery. The girls' parents called it a miracle.
Couldn't ask for better doctors than them, really. Since the beginning, I knew they were going to take good care of my girls.
The Torres said they hope the successful surgery will give their daughters a better life going forward. It's all pink day at Keeneland. Later this morning, former First Lady Jane Beshear will host her annual Horses and Hope event out at the track. This will be the 9th year for the celebration. Beshear, along with the Kentucky Cancer Program, created the event as a way to bring awareness, education, and affordable screenings to the equine community. Today's event has also become a way to honor breast cancer survivors across the Commonwealth. Horses and Hope begins at 11 a.m.
All right, pink and sunshine should be a good combo at the track today,
Should be
right?
a good one.
Time this morning is 5:42. Let's check live drive traffic now and see what's going on out there this morning. A lot of green on our map. No reports of any major problems right now. Again, a reminder, Keeneland gets back in action today, and so you can anticipate traffic before the 105 post time, as well as this afternoon after the final races that are along the Versailles Road corridor. And looks good at this moment. We'll keep you informed throughout the morning. Keep it here now on WKYT This Morning. We're back with a whole lot more news.
Normally, when a hailstorm hits, you try and take cover. That's not the case for this Texas man. His determination to improve his chip game when we come back.
They actually have pretty good form. Can't blame them on that one. Plenty of sunshine as we go through the next several days. That's going to help our temperatures big time. It's cold this morning, feels pretty good this afternoon, and feels much better for your weekend. I'll show you all that coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
We're going to be looking outside, looking at that frost advisory in effect through 9 a.m., and that's going to go for every single person. If you're watching this morning, you are under a frost advisory until 9 a.m. Now remember, it's the next couple of hours, so still, if you haven't brought your plants in, go out and grab them real quick. You didn't have to do it overnight because we're just now getting to those temperatures where it gets pretty chilly outside and gets to that frost level. We're at 34 now in Mount Sterling in Montgomery County. And as we continue to track through the day is going to be much better later on this afternoon because that sunshine will help out. The direction of the winds, when you flip-flop those winds, they're coming in from the north and northwest. When you flip those around into the south and southeast, then you're talking about, pumping in some warmer air because the warmer air is just south of us and to the southwest. So cold morning, but a pretty decent afternoon, about a 30-degree swing from 8 a.m. to about 5 p.m. Now that's a really pleasant feel. Get off towards your weekend, get off toward Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, you're talking about much warmer air sliding on in. So milder air is on the increase the next couple of days. This will take you through not just today, but tomorrow. And then the warm air really slides on in on Friday off towards your weekend. Now, Saturday's not going to be as warm is what we're going to be feeling there on Sunday. Sunday actually gets in the mid to upper 70s, but still 60s, 70s. dry conditions. I mean, it looks really good. There's no rain chance showing up, and there's really not even cloud cover showing up right now on Saturday. So this is going to be a really, really nice weekend, much nicer conditions, like I said, now through your weekend. The only chance of rain we have in the forecast is going to be there on Thursday at a very slight chance. I want to keep you in mind, remind you that today at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. in Richmond, us three will be down there. Chris Bailey, me, and also Jim Caldwell. Something hilarious that I absolutely love. My son saw this picture last night as I was tweeting it out, and he pointed at Jim Caldwell and said, "Papa," noting that my dad is bald. So there you go. I thought it was so. Jim loves that story, absolutely. But yeah, meet us down there at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Kroger. We'd love to see you. We're going to be programming weather radios. We're not just kind of standing around and pointing you toward the milk aisle, but yeah, we're going to help you out with some of your weather radios. So here's your 7-day forecast. 62 today, upper 60s, lower 70s tomorrow. Like I said, the only chance that we have the rest of this week to have some rain is tomorrow, and that's a very slight chance in the far southern half of our viewing area. Other than that, you head toward the weekend. The blue-white game looks great. Don't forget Jacobson Park here in Lexington, opening up the marina with the paddle boats and all that. And not just that, but it's Kite Fest 2016. If you haven't been out there at the Jacobson Park Kite Fest, or even driven down Richmond Road and seen it off in the distance, there's hundreds of them. It's really cool. The kids love it. It'll be perfect weather for it, too.
They're going to open up the little boat ramp over there that day as well. Right. So big events going on. All right, you can call Jimmy Papa, I guess, today.
Oh, he's going to love this.
We call him way worse than that.
You know it's going to happen now. People are going to come up to him and call him.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you. It's 5:49 right now. And so Texas got some seriously gnarly storms on Monday. We were showing you some of that yesterday, complete with some seriously gnarly hail.
Gnarly, I like that. But you know what they say, when life gives you lemon-sized tail, you go and you play golf. Well, that doesn't make much sense, but that's what this Texas resident did. You can see him here working on his chip shot with the ice chips, even while the hail continues pouring down. He gets points for determination, right? But he better be careful the clouds don't yell "for" when they drop softball-sized pieces of ice. That's so true, right?
Unbelievable. So much damage there. And, you know, we were seeing it at one point. We had video of it falling into a pool and that splashing around. But that guy made the best of it, I guess, right? Okay.
It's pretty funny.
Rolling toward 5:50, 10 till 6 on WKYT this morning.
Coming up, you'll get the stories making news at this hour.
We'll check traffic. We have some health news and a whole lot more ahead here on WKYT. Good morning. Welcome back into WKYT this morning on your Wednesday, hump day, the 13th of April, 5:53 right now.
Just talking to a producer there on the phone.
It's a good thing to do.
Just got to hang it up, right? Let's take a look at some of the stories we're working on at this hour.
Kentucky lawmakers plan to resume budget talks this morning. Friday will be the last day of the legislative session. That's required by the Constitution. And if they don't approve a budget by then, Governor Matt Bevin says he will not be calling them back to the Capitol for a special session.
A Nicholasville family is without a place to live after their home on the corner of West Brown Street and South 3rd caught fire yesterday. Crews say the fire started in the floor and spread to the walls. They say the home is a total loss. Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan is putting to rest any rumors that he could become the party's presidential nominee at a contested convention. The declaration Tuesday came as GOP frontrunner Donald Trump continued to rail against the establishment's nomination process. Trump and Democrat Hillary Clinton hold double-digit leads over their rivals in New York, which holds its crucial primary less than a week from now.
A story we'll be watching today. Tens of thousands of Verizon workers plan to walk off their jobs this morning over a contract dispute. Union leaders say the company wants to freeze pensions, ship jobs overseas, and make layoffs easier. Verizon says they have contingency plans in place and the customers should not be affected.
Women with a history of infertility have denser breast tissue than other women.
A study in the journal Breast Cancer Research says it may be caused by hormone treatments or it may be from the infertility itself. Dense tissue can be a risk factor for developing breast cancer.
And people who eat more fast foods are exposed to a higher levels of a possible harmful chemical called phthalates. Phthalates are used in packaging materials and can leach into processed foods. A study at George Washington University finds that those who eat the most fast foods have chemical levels as much as 40% higher than others. Let's get a check this hour. Today's traffic trouble spots with live drive traffic. It looks good out there this morning if you're about to head out the door. Now let's check in with Bill. Let's see what's happening online.
Well, on WKYT.com, frost advisory until 9 o'clock this morning. You can find Micah's forecast anytime. And also, state budget talks set to resume this morning with new urgency after Governor Matt Bevin said he will not be calling a special legislative session if lawmakers fail to reach a deal. We'll stay on top of the developments in Frankfort involving your tax dollars. We have a video up and a story about Congressman Andy Barr leading the U.S. House in a tribute to Justin and Stephanie Schultz, who were killed in the Brussels terrorist attacks last month. Also trending this morning, Attorney General Andy Beshear warning college students about a scam. He says companies are trying to charge students large fees to consolidate their student loans. Beshear points out those loans can be consolidated for free. He says they should not feel pressured to high fees and rates. Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump coming back to Kentucky. Trump set to appear at the NRA national meeting in Louisville next month. We have a story on that on our website this morning. On Kentucky.com, a former First Lady of UK is being remembered. 94-year-old Betty Dryman Dickey was the widow of former UK President Frank Dickey. They were married for 68 years before his death in 2009. And CBS This Morning is coming up at 7 with your eye opener. And of course, we'll have local updates. Hey, join us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter or Instagram. And for the latest news anytime, WKYT.com.
More than likely, you will need a coat this morning before you take off. It's at 35 degrees here in Lexington. We're going to go over the forecast later on this afternoon and also that big warm up. I'll have all that coming up next.